Demonstrators in Agawam getting set to march from the high school down to the police station, protesting police brutality following the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. Good evening. I'm Beth Ward. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday. Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis is live outside Agawam High School with the latest. Leon?
Beth, protesters right now are about to start marching. Now I'm going to give you a look of what's happening right now as we're live on the air. They're practicing chants when they start walking down to the police station. Now they want to be able to make chants all in unity and protest against police brutality. Now, there's been conversations of speakers saying different things and making sure that everyone is on the same page of having a peaceful protest. They will march up Mill Street, down Line Street, then finally ending on Springfield Street to the police station. Now, when they get down to the police headquarters, they plan to take a knee and mention the names of unarmed people of color who lost their lives to the hands of police officers. Now, one Agawam mom brought her 9-year-old daughter to this protest to support the Black Lives Matter movement.
If Black lives don't matter, no lives matter then. Because they're basically the same, but they only have a different color, which they should be treated the same.
I feel like it's important that she knows what's going on in the world, and if she said she wanted to come with me, so I brought her with. It's her mind, and she agrees that Black Lives Matter.
Now, organizers say they plan to start marching down to the police station at 6:15. Live in Agawam, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
Leon, thank you. Now to Wilbraham. A peaceful protest kicked off at 3:30 this afternoon. Demonstrators gathered in front of the Wilbraham United Church on Main Street to honor the life of George Floyd. Wilbraham police officers offered their services to help ensure the protest remained peaceful and safe for all, which it did. Across the country, many protesters have been chanting and demanding the defunding of police departments. But what does that actually mean for Massachusetts police departments if they were to defund the men and women in blue? Western Mass News reporter Alyssa McCann has the story.
Protests continue across Massachusetts about defunding, dismantling, and abolishing police departments. But what exactly does all of that mean to our local law enforcement?
It seems to be just almost like a rallying cry.
Chief Jeff Farnsworth, the president of the Massachusetts Chiefs of Police, tells Western Mass News that defunding a police department simply won't work. Chief Farnsworth explains defunding can actually be damaging to a society and even to law enforcement.
How can you not have policing? I mean, the last time that something was defunded was our mental health system. The funding was reduced tremendously on it, and that put a huge strain on other segments of our society, particularly law enforcement also.
In Northampton, the mayor has proposed a revised budget that would take away more than $19,000 from police. In a document written by Mayor Narkowitz obtained by Western Mass News, it reads in part, "I am submitting this revised substitute order for the fiscal year 2021 general fund budget, which would change the original $193,579 increase to a decrease of $19,066 of the Northampton Police Department budget over the current fiscal year 2020 budget. That's a proposed change of more than $210,000. Northampton Police Chief Jody Casper issued a statement on the proposed cuts, saying, quote, "The revised fiscal year 21 police budget includes a cut to the funding of our vehicles. We normally purchase 5 vehicles per year, and with the revised budget, we would be purchasing only 2 vehicles. This means we will be retaining older vehicles with higher mileage and increased maintenance costs." Chief Farnsworth says as a society, now is the time to come together.
We're just unbelievable looking at that incident that sparked all this. It's jaw-dropping. And a friend of mine said, and I would reiterate it, that nobody hates a bad cop more than a good cop. And that's definitely the case.
For Western Mass News, I'm Alyssa McCann.
We have breaking news tonight out of the sports world. NASCAR has announced that it will ban all Confederate flags at its events and properties. The move comes 2 days after driver Bubba Wallace, the only black full-time driver in the sport's top circuit, called for the move. NASCAR, a sport with a traditionally Southern fan base, says the flag goes against their commitment to provide a welcoming and inclusive environment for all fans and competitors. Questions of the Holyoke Soldiers' Home future raised in a Board of Trustees meeting last night. Board members proposed the facility may have outlived its useful purpose. Now, a former superintendent from the home is speaking out, fearing the home could be closed. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo joins us live in Holyoke with this exclusive interview. Audrey?
Former Superintendent Paul Barabani says fixing the overcrowding at the home doesn't require a reduction in capacity or another study. Barabani claims all it takes is an adjustment to a 2012 renovation plan he says was never funded by the state.
One could raise the question that the building has outlasted its legitimate viability.
A question raised by the Holyoke Soldiers' Home Board of Trustees Chair Kevin Jourdain at Tuesday's virtual meeting. A question that former superintendent of the home, Paul Barabani, broke his months-long silence to answer.
I was absolutely shocked that they were unaware of this project's existence.
Barabani, who ran the home starting in 2011 and resigned late 2015, has stayed quiet on the COVID-19 outbreak at the facility. Nearly 80 veterans who died tested positive for the virus. PPE shortages, crowded rooms, and short staffing have been blamed for the virus's spread. Barabani, countering Jourdain's question on the building's viability, says a 2012 project he worked to develop could fix those problems.
It called for the construction of a 5-floor new building which would house 120 private rooms for the veterans.
Barabani claims the plan was approved by the Department of Veterans Affairs. He says if the state would commit funding to the project, the VA will still help with the rest.
And the funding still exists with the VA federal government picking up 65% of the cost.
It was a project Barabani says he pushed for during his time as superintendent. However, he claims state officials with the Department of Veterans Services pushed back, and the state funding was never committed during his tenure.
I was given pretty explicit guidance that we didn't want to talk about new construction.
Western Mass News found several documents through the years of Barabani's pushing, studies, and recommendations the home be renovated. Even as the Chelsea Soldiers' Home was approved for a near $200 million renovation in 2017, Barabani says Holyoke was just promised another study.
Apparently ours was put on a shelf.
Barabani says the 2012 renovation project could still be approved this year if the 2012 price tag of $160 million was adjusted for inflation. But he says the state needs to act fast in committing the 35% of the funding.
If we don't meet the 1st of August deadline, then it's another full fiscal year that we'd have to wait. So that's too much delay. We need to take immediate action.
For a man who stayed quiet throughout the last few months as COVID-19 ravaged the inside of the facility's walls, Barabani wants the veterans to know just because he was quiet doesn't mean he was idle.
Just let them know that I'm still fighting the battle, for them and for future generations of veterans.
I asked Barabani about the state's recent proposal, $2 million proposal, to decrease 50 beds as a capacity in the building and to improve infection control measures within it. He said that doesn't address the needs of the veterans in the community and in the facility. And in his words, he said it was like putting lipstick on a pig. Live in Holyoke, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you. We continue to follow plans for Springfield Public Schools as the district looks ahead to the fall. Well, today a district spokesperson said that administrators continue to look at starting the next school year on August 31st and release proposed guidelines to protect students and staff from the coronavirus. Administrators say that students should expect to attend school in person, but on a rotating basis. On the days they're home, students will have remote learning. Class size and movement throughout school buildings will be limited. All students and teachers will be expected to wear face coverings while in school buildings or on buses. And new safety and sanitation protocols will be implemented, which will include temperature monitoring and individually packaged school meals. Taking a look now at today's numbers of COVID-19 cases here in the Bay State. So far, the state reports 100,158 confirmed cases. That's up 203 from yesterday. They say there are now 3,998 probable cases. That's up 64 from yesterday. There are now 104,156 total cases in the Bay State. There are 45 more confirmed deaths today and 1 death among the probable cases. The statewide total death toll now stands at 7,454. New at 6, good news at the Western Mass Recovery and Wellness Center in Springfield. Sheriff Nick Cochi announced today that there are 0 cases of COVID-19 at the facility. The 67 people with negative test results at the center in Springfield are from all over Western Mass, we're told, including Worcester and Hampden County. The negative test results there followed testing at the Women's Correctional Center in Chicopee, where there were also 0 positive cases reported. And at the main institution in Ludlow, there are 12 positive cases out of 614 men, we're told, who were tested. And for more coverage on the coronavirus emergency as it develops, log on to our free Western Mass News streaming app.
Well, it is feeling awfully muggy out there this evening, and those dew points are expected to stay on the high side throughout your Thursday. So just get used to it the next maybe 24 hours or so. You might want the AC on if you haven't turned it on already. We're at 80 degrees right now, but dew points have climbed to the mid-60s. We've got some veiled sunshine. Looks like some breaks in the overcast, letting some of that sun come through. So it is warm and it is humid out there this evening. Temperatures are still close to 80. Westfield, Springfield, everyone else has dropped into the 70s. Great Barrington still checking in at 82. And dew points keep rising, and we are seeing that comfortable air mass continue to retreat off to the north and east. Everyone in New England is going to be muggy for Thursday out ahead of an approaching cold front. We'll also be talking about some increasing chances for wet weather. So far, everything is still well off to our west. A couple of showers creeping closer to North Adams. We do have the threat to see some wet weather overnight, mainly after midnight, and the best chances for that will start in northern Berkshire County and eventually make their way to the Pioneer Valley by sunrise. This is kind of a thing right now. I went to my first drive-in movie a few weeks ago. It was pretty cool. If you are planning on doing that tonight, it is expected to stay dry but very muggy. Temperatures will be in the 70s all night. We'll have a lot of cloud cover, but again, the wet weather holds off until after midnight. Just humid. And then for tomorrow, scattered showers in the morning with some downpours and then some spotty afternoon thunderstorms, a few of which could possibly turn severe. We'll take a look at that outlook and we'll time it all out in the Futurecast in just a few minutes. Beth, back to you.